Back in September, I went on a trip to New York City. It shouldn't be much of a surprise. I uploaded a 40-minute long vlogumentary on my channel chronicling the highlights of my 4-day experience while I was there. And I thoroughly enjoyed the trip. I'd wanted to go to that city for a long time, so it was nice to finally be able to get the opportunity to go and to get a whiff and a taste of the experience of being in the Big Apple. Now, that does not mean that the experience was without its flaws. There were certainly some things of the experience that I did not really enjoy, chief among them what I'm going to be talking about in this video. And while it didn't ruin the experience, it did leave enough of a taint on it, such that I'm still thinking about it to this day and gonna make a video on it. So let's get started. The thing I want to talk about and rant about are the selfish tourists. Now, I just want to get this out of the way. I do realize that I am a tourist and a traveler when I went on that trip. But I'm talking about that demographic of tourists who like to hijack the occasion to themselves, right, thus ruining it for everyone else and making the occasion far less special. Now, whenever I go on these trips or I make a video on them, there are usually 3 pillars to my definition of tourism, almost like a triad. There's me, my experiences, and detailing the location, right? So these all 3 go in tandem with one another. It'd be really bad if one of them outshined the other or had more emphasized importance over the other. And that's what I really want to talk about today, is that these demographics of tourists or travelers, it can really be both, like to overemphasize the me portion of it. You know, they'll be at the center of the whole experience, which does make sense to some extent. You are the person who's experiencing the ride, but I also don't think that it should be overemphasized to the degree that these people do it. Case in point, I was walking the Brooklyn Bridge, and I would oftentimes see people taking these wide-angle shots, such that they'd be taking these pictures from across the walkway, almost kind of blockading you from crossing until they're finished, just to get this nice shot of themselves with the city in the background, with the bridge in the background, as if they freaking owned it. And oftentimes, as I'm passing by or stopping in my tracks to let these people, go ahead with it, I'd be looking at them instinctively out of a mix of both confusion and disgust. The confusion side being, what are you doing? The disgust being, who the hell do you think you are, kind of thing. And the worst part about it is that if you happen to mistakenly enter the frame of one of their shots that they are going out of their way to take, you more likely than not get chastised by them for ruining the shot and being too disrespectful, as if you should move out of the way for their sake. Now, I'm not a person who really favors confrontations, so if I were to get into a situation like this, it'd probably play out like this.
Okay, you got it? Okay. Good shot though, right? Go ahead. What the fuck, man? You entering my shot, man.
Sorry.
Come on. Can you not see what we're doing here?
All right.
Jeez. Trying to look good and everything, you come and ruin it. Bam.
Sorry, Jim. But if I had a spine about the situation and wanted to put them in their place, which I would see as the more reasonable thing to do, ironically, then I would do this.
Ugh, sorry, Jim. Okay, the fuck do you mean I need to have respect? What are you taking up the whole damn walkway with your wide-angle shot? Who do you think you are to this bridge? The master? Come on. Piece of shit.
Now, I wouldn't resort to physically assaulting them, but my point stands. I would still put them in their place and make it clear to them that they're doing the exact same thing as me, only to a more obnoxious extent. The second example that I can really remember was when I went to the Edge with my cousin. The Edge is an observation deck at the Hudson Yards in Manhattan along the Hudson. Really nice attraction. We went there during probably what had to have been peak business hours, and to say that place was crowded at that point is an understatement, because of course everyone like him and I were trying to catch that New York City sunset coupled with the beautiful skyline and iconic city lights Now, part of what made the observation deck that evening so congested was the fact that people were doing just the exact same thing on the public viewing ledge as I had described earlier, taking up an unnecessary amount of space to reserve for themselves for their personal photo shoots, just utterly hijacking the moment at an absolutely public tourist attraction where anyone who's there should feel free to explore and indulge at their own disposal and their own will. Now, these people would probably reserve like 2 square miles of space along the viewing platform so that they can take these like almost like these Time Vogue magazine cover type of shots that they've seen on Instagram and try to replicate them such that, you really know who the experience belongs to, who the experience is all about. It seemed so narcissistic in nature that once again, that kind of disgust from earlier that I mentioned kind of just came rushing back. And you had people literally having to line up and queue up so that they can actually have a spot along the ledge to take photos at, which, granted, there was a couple of people who were doing it nicely, taking a couple of pictures and then taking some more pictures of the view. The pictures of the people there would take no longer than like about 30 seconds, and then they'd move on to, something else, or, walking around, or just being a normal fucking human being. But it's these people, and there was a good bunch of them doing this, who absolutely clogging up the viewing space and the experience. There had to have been like 2 Polish girls who were doing that very thing, and I happened to accidentally step into their frame of their picture, just trying to absorb the view myself, and I could visibly see both of them, and if not both, at least one of them, certainly, out the corner of my eye, give me that look where it's like, okay, or this kind of, okay, you're in our shot kind of thing. They didn't say anything, but I could almost feel it, it was certainly there. And I don't know, it just brought back all the things that I was thinking about when it comes to selfish tourists making the occasion about themselves. These are public attractions. I've stated that multiple times in this video, so whenever you're starting to feel like traveling or being a tourist, be respectful of other people and just stop making tourism and traveling such a living hell for people who just want to enjoy. That's pretty much my rant. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. I was originally going to include this in my vlogumentary, but it would have been more work than I wanted to do for a video that was already of that size, and 2, in hindsight, it would have made me appear selfish in the same way that I am describing these people to be. So in hindsight, a really smart decision by me to not do that, but whatever the case, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.